Sean Diddy Combs has made a huge mistake that could cost him his freedom. And it's not looking good for Diddy because the biggest enemy that he has in his life is himself. And the second biggest enemy that he has in his life is this guy right here.
He would call me, text me all the time, telling me where he was and to have a photographer waiting in the bushes on the corner to take pictures of him. So he has been doing this his whole career. We should not be surprised.
We got video of him at Fort Dix reporting for work in the library.
This was the chapel, and this is the media library in the chapel, which is where Diddy's currently working. He's working in a Life Connections program, which is an 18-month program that helps rehab people, get them closer to spirituality, to charity groups, and with that, it will shorten his sentence. It does sound like he used maybe possibly some connections to get a better job.
New footage of Sean Diddy Combs behind bars has just leaked, and it's not what anyone expected. In a clip that's now racing across social media, the 56-year-old music mogul is seen inside the Chapel Media Library at FCI Fort Dix, the federal prison in New Jersey where he's serving his sentence. The video, obtained by TMZ, shows Diddy calmly removing his blue jacket and scarf, chatting quietly with another inmate before slipping his jacket back on, smiling, and walking away with headphones in his ears. There's no sound, no context, just a brief, silent moment that's somehow become one of the most talked about clips online. Fans are dissecting every frame, trying to guess what he's saying, what he's thinking, and what this short video really means. Prison officials, meanwhile, say they had nothing to do with the leak. In a statement, Fort Dix confirmed, "We did not produce or authorize the release of this video." And that's what makes it even more mysterious, because behind those carefully guarded walls, Diddy's world has completely changed. From chart-topping luxury to fluorescent lights, steel doors, and a reputation he can't control. This isn't just a celebrity in a cell. It's a glimpse into how one of the most powerful men in hip-hop is trying to survive inside one of America's most chaotic prisons. But how did Diddy, the self-proclaimed bad boy for life, end up here? For nearly 3 decades, Sean Diddy Combs was the definition of power. Music, fashion, television, liquor, real estate. He built an empire from the ground up. His parties were legendary, his image untouchable. He wasn't just living the American dream. He was the dream.
What's up, y'all? Coming here live from London. Extremely humble, grateful, and blessed. I'm still standing taller than I've ever been. Looking like a true survivor. Feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing there.
But that image started to crumble, piece by piece, as the headlines turned darker. Federal investigators began closing in on a string of allegations, and by mid-2025, the unthinkable happened. Diddy was arrested and charged in a sweeping case that included sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation for prostitution.
I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
In July, the court delivered a mixed verdict, acquitting him of the most serious trafficking charges, but finding him guilty on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. The sentence, 50 months in federal prison. By October, Diddy, the man who once flew private jets and threw million-dollar birthday bashes, was transferred from Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center to FCI Fort Dix.
Yeah, you got to go to federaal prison because you got a federal charge. You don't get to choose to
he
go to
has to
federal
go
prison.
to a federal prison, but within there's a couple that he could be at.
Exactly.
So his team will look at, of course, they want him to be closer to his family. They want it to be easy for people to visit him, but they also are trying to get him out of there. So the better he can be rehabilitated from whatever he's dealing with, which are drugs and different things, and get out of there.
Yeah, I thought those were just programs. So I guess what different prisons have different programs, or do all the prisons have same programs?
Different prisons do have different programs, but the one program that the judge cited, I guess, is like really popular throughout various federal prisons.
A low-security federal facility known for overcrowding, chaos, and its unsettling mix of privilege and danger. It's a place where former inmates describe the bathrooms as broken, the food as expired, and the nights as unpredictable. And for someone used to total control, Fort Dix represents something he's never faced before: powerlessness. His official release date is set for June 2028, but insiders say the real challenge isn't just serving time. It's staying safe, sane, and silent in an environment that's already testing his limits. Because as the footage shows, Diddy's new reality couldn't be further from the lavish life he once flaunted. And the world is watching every move he makes. The leaked video that's now circling every platform, from X to TikTok to YouTube Shorts, isn't long, but it's powerful. Barely a minute of footage. Yet it's given the public more to talk about than any statement his team has released since his sentencing. It starts inside the Chapel Media Library at Fort Dix, a small, dimly lit room that doubles as both a study space and a quiet hangout for inmates who work with the prison chaplain. You see Diddy standing near a bookshelf, wearing the standard issue blue jacket over his prison uniform, a dark scarf loosely hanging around his neck. He removes the scarf first, then the jacket, slow, calm, deliberate, as if settling into a routine he's already grown used to. Another inmate walks up beside him, and the two begin to talk. The body language is relaxed. There's no tension, no sign of confrontation. Diddy nods, gestures lightly, and even lets out what looks like a faint smile. Then, the clip cuts. Suddenly, he's putting the jacket back on, slipping in his earphones, and walking out of the library with the same quiet composure. The camera follows him from behind as he strolls down a long hallway. White cinder block walls, a fluorescent hum in the air, and another inmate pushing a black cart just a few steps behind him. To a casual viewer, it's uneventful. But to fans who followed Diddy for decades, it's surreal. This is the man who once performed in front of millions, now reduced to a silent walk through a government hallway. What really captures attention, though, are the details. His once perfectly trimmed goatee has grown into a gray streaked beard. His hair, usually sharp and lined, is now soft and natural, showing his age. His posture is straighter than expected, almost disciplined, yet there's a heaviness in the way he moves. And then there's that smile, small, brief, and complicated. Some call it peaceful, others say it looks forced, like a man trying to hold on to a sense of pride in a place built to strip it away. Because there's one thing the clip doesn't give us: sound. We don't know what was said, what was felt, or who was really behind the camera. Was it a guard sneaking a shot, another inmate, or someone deliberately feeding the public a curated image of Diddy's new life? Online, the theories haven't stopped. Some fans insist the video proves he's adapting, finding calm and purpose behind bars. Others believe it's carefully orchestrated, a way to humanize his image after a string of damaging headlines. A few even claim the smile feels rehearsed, part of a man still trying to control the narrative, even when he's lost all control. And that's what makes this clip so haunting. It's not dramatic, it's quiet. Too quiet, because in that silence, every viewer fills in the blanks. Regret, resilience, or maybe just survival. But what's happening beyond the camera lens, in the parts of Fort Dix that no one films, might shock you. To understand what that quiet smile in the leaked video really means, you have to know where Diddy is living now, a place that many former inmates describe as part prison, part madhouse. Welcome to FCI Fort Dix, New Jersey, a sprawling, low-security federal correctional institution that houses more than 4,000 inmates, making it one of the largest federal prisons in the country. On paper, it's considered low security, In reality, it's a pressure cooker. Former inmates say the atmosphere is unpredictable. Overcrowded dorm-style units packed with hundreds of men, limited supervision, and barely functioning infrastructure. One of the most famous ex-prisoners from Fort Dix, former Real Housewives of New Jersey star Joe Giudice, put it bluntly, it's not a jail, it's an insane asylum. Giudice, who spent over 3 years at Fort Dix, described nights that feel endless and mornings filled with tension.
Now, after sleeping in there all day, you know what I mean, getting undressed, getting all my belongings in, which I didn't really take much with me. I took the crappiest jeans with me and the crappiest whatever because I knew it was just going to be stored away, and I knew when I was getting out, I would get regular clothes again. As I was getting undressed and, you know, they got to check everything, bend over, cough, beeping, butt-bang, all this bull BS.
He recalled fights breaking out over the smallest things: food, phone time, even an onion. "I've seen people get stabbed over an onion," he said, adding that the people inside aren't always stable and tempers flare fast. The facilities themselves aren't much better. Toilets frequently break, showers flood, and maintenance can take weeks or months. One former inmate said there's often only one working bathroom per floor, shared by dozens of men. Another called the food expired, gray, and tasteless, joking grimly that you never really know what you're eating. By night, things get darker. Several ex-inmates have spoken about what they call the chaos hours, the period between midnight and 4 a.m. when guards are stretched thin and anything can happen. Whispered conversations, fights, and what some describe as bizarre behavior become part of the background noise. Giudice claims that on more than one occasion, he woke up to see scenes that could only be described as the craziest things you'd never imagine happening in a prison. When asked how guards respond, he says most simply turn the other way. They hear the showers running late at night. They just pretend it's not happening. Another ex-prisoner who served 17 months at Fort Dix between 2019 and 2020 echoed that description, saying, "It was a zoo, absolute chaos. I told a kid I met there, this isn't a jail, it's an insane asylum," and he agreed. Even the basic structure of the facility adds to the sense of instability. Unlike higher security prisons, Fort Dix has open dorms instead of individual cells, meaning there's no privacy and no real separation from the noise or tension. You sleep shoulder to shoulder with strangers, surrounded by constant movement and murmurs through the night. And yet, despite these grim accounts, Fort Dix officials insist that safety and order remain priorities. In a statement to the press, a representative for the prison emphasized, any findings or accusations of sexual assault or physical assaults are not tolerated. Such matters are taken seriously and investigated thoroughly. Still, for many who've lived there, the official version doesn't match the reality. One former inmate described it as a place where rules exist on paper, but chaos runs the floor. So while the outside world debates Diddy's leaked video, the smile, the calmness, the composure, those who know Fort Dix say appearances can be deceiving. Because behind those sterile walls, survival isn't about fame, fortune, or image. It's about staying quiet, blending in, and keeping your head down when the lights go out. And that raises the question everyone's been asking since the footage leaked. How is Diddy managing to survive in a place like this? While the leaked footage gave fans a silent, surface-level glimpse of Diddy's reality, new reports from CBS News and Page 6 have revealed what life behind bars for the once untouchable mogul actually looks like. And it's far from ordinary. Sources inside the facility confirm that Sean Diddy Combs has landed one of the most desirable jobs in the entire prison: chaplain's assistant. It's a position that carries quiet respect among inmates, offering both privacy and privilege in an environment where both are rare. Each morning, Diddy reports to the chapel library, tucked away in a calmer section of Fort Dix, one of the few places in the facility where inmates can move freely, read, or simply escape the constant noise of the dorms.
This was the chapel, and this is the media library in the chapel, which is where Diddy's currently working. He's working in a Life Connections program, which is an 18-month program that helps rehab people and get them closer to spirituality, to charity groups. And with that, it will shorten his sentence.
His responsibilities include maintaining the religious library, organizing materials for the prison chaplain, and helping with record keeping for faith-based programs. Unlike the cafeteria or laundry detail, the chapel assignment allows him to spend his days in a clean, air-conditioned room, a rare luxury in a prison notorious for its broken air systems and overcrowding. One former federal prison commissioner told CBS News that this job is often given to inmates who've shown discipline and composure. The chapel assistant role comes with trust, they explained. You're around officers and religious staff, not just other inmates. It's considered a safe space, both physically and politically. Diddy's publicist, Judah Engelmeyer, confirmed that the rapper has fully embraced the assignment. In a statement, he described the environment as warm, respectful, and rewarding. According to insiders, Diddy spends hours cataloging religious books, cleaning, and occasionally helping other inmates access spiritual materials. He's said to keep to himself, but is polite and professional when spoken to. A far cry from the high-energy, larger-than-life persona fans once knew. But the chapel job isn't just about faith, it's also about strategy. Working under the chaplain gives inmates more stability, fewer confrontations, and a chance to earn goodwill from staff. For someone like Diddy, whose name still carries enormous weight, it's a calculated move, a way to stay productive, stay visible, and most importantly, stay safe. And it's not the only smart choice he's made since arriving at Fort Dix. Diddy has also been accepted into the Residential Drug Abuse Treatment Program, RDAP.
That Diddy should be somewhere that has a very strong substance abuse program, including the Bureau of Prisons Residential Drug Abuse Program. It's called RDAP, for which he qualifies.
How do you pick your prison anyway? Is there like a brochure? Like I'm serious.
Don't make it seem like a vacation.
No, but how do you look at? How do you pick a prison?
Them all-inclusive
different prisons
days
are for
is
different
over.
things.
The Bureau of Prisons' most intensive and highly sought-after rehabilitation course. Not every inmate qualifies, but Diddy's legal team pushed hard for it, arguing that his long history of substance abuse contributed to the reckless lifestyle that led to his conviction. The RDAP program isn't easy. It involves months of counseling, group therapy, and psychological evaluations. Participants live together in a designated housing unit and must follow strict behavioral codes. But completing it successfully can lead to a sentence reduction of up to 1 full year, a potential game changer for someone facing nearly 4 years behind bars. His team insists that he's taking the program seriously. Mr. Combs is an active participant in the RDAP and has taken his rehabilitation process seriously from the start, Engelmeyer told CBS News. He is fully engaged in his work, focused on growth and committed to positive change. Those close to him say that Diddy now spends his days between the chapel and the RDAP unit, reading scripture and journaling in the evenings, something he's reportedly done since his sentencing. He's told associates through legal calls that he's trying to find meaning in the isolation, leaning on faith and discipline to maintain control over a world where every decision, every movement, and even every word is monitored. Still, for all the calm the chapel brings, life at Fort Dix remains unpredictable. Inmates talk, rumors spread, and power dynamics shift daily. Some insiders quietly suggest that his position, however cushioned, also makes him a target of curiosity, even envy. It's a double-edged sword, one former inmate said. Working for the chaplain gives you status, but it also makes people wonder how you got that job. In prison, favoritism can be dangerous. So while Diddy may spend his days surrounded by scripture and relative peace, the truth is he's still living inside a system where alliances can turn overnight and where even privilege has its price. Because for all his access, Diddy's reality remains tightly controlled. His movements limited, his phone calls monitored, his image under constant scrutiny. And as recent reports show, even for someone as strategic and image-conscious as Diddy, not everything is smooth behind the scenes. For a few weeks, it looked like Diddy was settling in, quietly adjusting to life behind bars, keeping a low profile and earning praise for his work in the chapel. But behind that calm exterior, something was brewing. Barely days after arriving at Fort Dix, reports surfaced of Diddy being written up for violating federal prison communication rules. On paper, it sounds small, just a phone call. But inside a federal facility, where every second of communication is logged and monitored, this was a serious offense. According to internal documents obtained by CBS News, the incident happened on November 3rd, less than a week after his transfer. And ironically, just one day before his 56th birthday.
So Sean Combs works in the Chapel Library at the federal prison in New Jersey, and he is in an intensive drug treatment program. That is according to his new publicist, who shared that information with me after I told him that CBS News had exclusively obtained documents about Combs' prison stay. Now, the documents reveal the 56-year-old participated in a three-way call, which is prohibited, but his publicist said, quote, it was a procedural call initiated by one of the attorneys and was